Hola chicos, ¿cómo están? Hoy vamos a aprender un poco sobre algunas criaturas interesantes, los insectos. Hi friends, today we are going to learn a little bit about some fascinating creatures, the insects. I have some pictures to show you and we'll chat about a few things. And you can use this information for the work you do this week. Okay, class Insecta, amazing arthropods. How many different kinds of insects can you name? Just brainstorm for a minute and think about all the different types of insects you know. The ones I've written down here, butterfly, millipede, ant, walking stick, grasshopper, these are just a few of the many kinds of insects. ¿Cuántos tipos diferentes de insectos puedes nombrar? Hay muchos más en el mundo. Estos son solo un pocos. There's a huge variety, muchos varios. This, as you know, is the blue morpho, mi favorita. I saw 5 of these butterflies this morning in the woods outside my window. It was magical. Esta mañana vi 5 de estas mariposas afuera de mi sala. Es muy mágico. Look at how big his eyes are. Como grande está sus ojos. Very good camouflage. Okay, so here's some interesting things to know about insects. 90% of all the animal life on our whole planet are insects. 90%. That's almost all of them. 50% of all the life on Earth. And when I say all the life on Earth, I mean every plant, every animal, every bit of life in the sea, the trees, all of it, and the humans. 50% of all the life on this planet are insects. There are over 1 million different species of insect, and scientists continue to discover more. Insects live almost everywhere on Earth. However, there aren't too many species in the ocean, just a few, because a different type of arthropod thrives in the ocean. Those are the crustaceans. ¿Lo sabías? El 90% de toda la vida animal en nuestra planta son insectos. Todos los animales, 90%. El 50% de toda la vida, todas las plantas, todos los humanos, todos los animales, toda, 50% son insectos. Hay más de 1 millón de especies diferentes de insectos y los científicos siguen descubriendo más. Los insectos viven casi en todas partes de la Tierra. Sin embargo, no hay demasiadas especies en el océano. Un tipo diferente de artrópodo prospera en el océano. Hay más. Here's a few more. I remember after the flood, my first year here in Nosara, Miss Vicky found a rhino beetle that looked a lot like this, and it was about this big. I'm not joking. So scientists, in order to classify and organize all their information, as they've learned more and more about animals, they organize them in a system they called taxonomy. And that means that they start with all the animals in the planet, and they call it Kingdom Animalia. And then inside that kingdom, they divide them into groups of similar types of animals. And those groups are called phyla. So there's a phylum called Arthropoda. And then inside that phylum Arthropoda, there are many different classes of arthropods. I mentioned the crustaceans in the ocean. That's one class. Another class are the Insecta. Within the group of Insecta, there are many groups, smaller groups of different kinds of insects, like the Lepidoptera, the butterflies, and the moths. Los científicos organizar y clasificar información sobre animales en un sistema llamado taxonomía. Taxonomía, los científicos empiezan con todos los animales del mundo y llaman este grupo Reino Animalia. Adentro de este grupo hay muchos grupos, llaman filos, y cada filo tiene animales con específicos partes o cosas similares. Ok, adentro el filo artrópoda hay muchas clases y una clase es clase Insecta. Ok, entonces adentro de la clase Insecta hay muchos órdenes. Estos son solo un pocos. Orden Lepidoptera, mariposas y polillas, por ejemplo. Some things that most insects have in common. They have an exoskeleton. This is like wearing your skeleton on the outside. They don't have any bones on the inside. Okay, so they have this hard exoskeleton on the outside, which is great for protection. But the problem is, as they grow bigger during their life, those hard exoskeletons cannot grow with them. So what they have to do is they have to shed that exoskeleton, and they have to grow a new one. And sometimes they'll do it several times in their life. This process is called a molt. The problem with the molt is that while the exoskeleton is shed and before they can grow a new one, their bodies are soft and very vulnerable to predators, to the weather, to all sorts of things. So it's a dangerous time in the life of an insect when they're molting. Insect bodies have 3 parts. They have a head, they have a thorax, which we would maybe call a chest area, and an abdomen, which we would call the belly area. But their legs don't come out of the bottom of their belly area like ours does. They come out the sides of the torso. The torso is where our heart and lungs are. Now, I mentioned before spiders are not insects on my slide because spiders only have 2 parts to their bodies. Insects have 3 pairs of jointed legs, so that's 6 legs in total. Spiders have 8 legs in 4 pairs. Most adult insects can walk, fly, and some can swim. And insects undergo a metamorphosis, which means that their bodies change significantly during their lifetimes. That means they don't just grow bigger, but they actually change, maybe grow some different parts or change shape. Most insects hatch from eggs. Many insects spend a part of their life cycle actually living underwater. And many insects spend part of their life cycle in what we call a larval state, sort of like a worm-like state. Algunas cosas que la mayoría de los insectos tienen en común. Insectos tienen un exoesqueleto. Es como llevar el esqueleto por fuera, porque hay no huesos adentro de los cuerpos de insectos. Todo es fuera. Esto es bueno para protección, pero el problema es esto. Porque el exoesqueleto es muy duro, no es posible para el exoesqueleto crecer con los insectos. Entonces, por lo que tienen que desprenderse y volver a crecer varias veces. Ese proceso se llama muda. La problema con la muda es esta. Cuando el insecto es en este proceso, su cuerpo es muy, no duro, suave. No sé, esto es la palabra correcta, pero creo que tú entiéndeme. Ok. Los insectos tienen cuerpos con 3 partes. Las arañas solo tienen 2. ¿Ok? Los insectos tienen un cabeza, un tórax y un abdomen. Insectos son 3 pares de patas articuladas. Las arañas tienen 8 piernas en 4 pares. Y la mayoría de los insectos adultos pueden caminar y volar. Algunos pueden nadar. Y se someten a una metamorfosis, lo que significa que sus cuerpos cambian significativamente durante sus vidas. No solamente creciendo, pero cambiando, creciendo partes nuevas o nuevas partes o cambiando la forma. Muchos insectos pasan parte de su ciclo de vida bajo el agua y muchos insectos pasan parte de su ciclo de vida en estado larvario. These are the 3 parts: the head, the thorax, and the abdomen. And you can see how all of the legs in this insect are coming out of the thorax. So that would be like our legs coming out where our arms come out, like maybe 2 arms here and 2 legs here. And we just sit on our abdomen because we don't have anything below us. En español, estos partes se llaman cabeza, tórax, abdomen. Insects are ancient. If you look at our timeline of life, you see insects early on in the Paleozoic age. And Paleozoic means the old Stone Age. Scientists have found fossils of insects trapped in amber and in rock. And some of these fossils date all the way back to the Paleozoic age. These fossils have taught us that some insects used to be huge. They've even found fossil evidence that teaches us that there were dragonflies with wingspans of up to 70 centimeters. You should check out how big that is. Insectos son antiguos. Los científicos han encontrado fósiles de insectos atrapados en el ámbar y en la roca. Algunos de estos fósiles se remontan a la era paleozoica. Estos fósiles nos han enseñado que algunos insectos solían ser enormes. Incluso han encontrado fósiles que nos enseñan que había libélulas con una envergadura de 70 centímetros. Estos son ejemplos de arte de insectos, porque al final de esta semana, hay una actividad sobre haciendo un retrato de un insecto. So this is an example of some insect art. I'll show you a few other insect arts. There's an activity at the end of the week where I'd like you to do a portrait of an insect, and I'd like you to fill the page with it so we can see all the details. Look at this guy. I think that's done with pen and ink. You can see in this one, they've put in some details about the shapes of different parts over here. Okay, friends. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about insects. It's June, so that means there's a lot of insects around right now. I've been seeing some new fascinating kinds where I am today. I hope you all enjoyed this. And please let me know if you have any questions about any of the activities. Disfrutas, por favor, las actividades sobre insectos esta semana. Y I'll see you later. Have a good afternoon.